So as I continue the build, I wanted to show you a couple pieces that I'm currently working on. Here we have a bunch of 3D printed components, mainly for the X and Y, but also for the Z. Let's start with that actually. So this is going to be the hot end, and it mainly consists of the Budish nozzle, which I ordered from Lulzbot, a 0.5 millimeter nozzle. I decided to go with a little bit larger nozzle to try to avoid some clogging and possibly to also use the wood filament. As you can hear in the background, there's a chainsaw going, so please ignore that as it'll be going on throughout the recording. Had a little bit of a storm. And so here we go. We've got some of the blue parts here, which house the bearings. The main component here, which ties everything together. And you can see the hob bolt that goes through the large herringbone that is turned by the small herringbone, which is turned by the motor. So the motor turns this guy, and we can see, it's probably pretty difficult to see in the picture, but this turns essentially the hob bolt, which will allow the filament to be fed in through the top, and will push it through essentially a glue gun, which is the Budish nozzle. A little more advanced than that, but essentially that's what we got. So I started assembling everything. I just got the springs in the mail, so this should be good to go today. And I'm going to put this aside and continue with the X and Y. So you can see, as I showed in the pictures and some of the postings in the past, I have everything welded up. We have the frame. It needs some cleaning up and powder coating, but we'll deal with that once we have everything working and clearance and everything welded. So mainly I'm going to be working today on the X and Y axes. I have to do the X rods that go across, and then that will intersect. This will be for the carriage. The aluminum plate will sit on top here, and then the rods will go through these bearings. So this is a 3D printed component with some bearings, some linear bearings placed in there, and then there's some bolts, and just tighten it up so they don't slide out. And then this is how the belt will attach. I'll just do a couple of zip ties here and here, and essentially that will go here and go back and forth as that goes back and forth. So I've got the drill rod all polished and sanded, and it's ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead and drill out these, and then I may have to file them a little bit to get them to fit. It might be a little too snug. I'll make sure that the bearings are on, and we'll fit it back in there and see where we're at.